We're going to talk about the 5 words that are blocking your breakthrough and what they really mean. And this is a really fun one, especially if this has ever happened to you. And that is you've been sitting in a class, or you were reading a book, or you're listening to a podcast, and a word was said, a word that's always in, and we're talking about in self-development here, but a word that has been said, and you know what the word is, but then you think, do I know what that word is? Or what does that word really mean? Or you don't really have a grip on, or good grasp on the actual meaning of the word. And then you get stuck. And that's a very real issue. And people get stuck and they never move forward. So if you have found yourself listening to a podcast or reading a book or in a class or any of that, and you got stuck, then this is going to help you. So it's almost like, wait, what does that even mean? Or it's it's one of those things that will help you, that will stop your breakthrough. Meaning, when there's something that's really powerful, you're really listening to a podcast or a lecture or something, and it's just so good, and you really want to understand it, and then boom, there's that word, like identity or mindset or neuroplasticity or self-talk. And it's like, what does that even mean? Hey, I'm Lynnie Wennerstrom. I am a certified self-talk trainer and a certified life coach. And let's talk about the 5 words that could be blocking your breakthrough and what they really mean. And I really have 21 that I put together for myself just to have, because even though I know what they mean, I want to be able to just have them at my fingertips. And I thought, I'm just going to share these because they're pretty powerful. And these words, by the way, they are not these are not words that, they are not the description or the definition that you'll find in the um, in the dictionary. These are what I've put together. So I do remember sitting in a class, and I can't remember, I think it was the word identity, and all of a sudden I got in my head, like, what is identity? What does that mean? I know it's about what I think about myself or how I see myself, but what's the deeper meaning? Because the conversation or the lecture was going deeper in that. And I was too embarrassed to raise my hand and say, hey, what does identity even mean? It was a big class. And then, and not even that, or I think I just didn't want to disrupt more than anything, but the disruption is what causes the embarrassment, right? For somebody with programs like me, that is that kind of program that I'm running. So we're talking about neuroplasticity, and that is definitely a program. So what happens is your brain starts to decode. It wants to decode the message. It wants to decode what the word is, and then you just get stuck on that. So here's what I've learned. It's not that I'm not. It just learned that I just don't have that language, that exact word, or that language. So here are the 5 words. And you're not, if you know them, but you're not 100% exactly sure what they mean, I'm going to give you 5 of them. I'm going to break down the 5 most powerful and probably most understood words in personal development. So the first one is, because I'm all about neuroplasticity, so I have them all written out here for you. I actually have 21, but we're going to go through 5. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to rewire itself until you take your very last breath. And it rewires itself based on what you think, you say, and you do, what's repeated to you. So let me just give you an analogy. It's like walking in a park, and you get a message, and the more often that you get that message, the more, well, there's self-talk park, but let's just say walking the same trail in a forest, right? Everybody walks that trail, and the more that you walk it, back and forth, back and forth. At first you don't see that trail, and then the more you walk it, it gets bigger, bigger, and bigger, like more and more defined. That is what I'm talking about. It's like walking the same trail in a forest. The more you walk it, the clearer it becomes. And that's what happens in your brain. So neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself. So hopefully I didn't confuse you on that first one, because I was going to, anyway. So let's go into the second one. The second one is programming. So programming is the automatic beliefs wired into you from repetition, usually without your permission. So an analogy is like the default settings on your phone. Until you change them, they run the whole show. But when you change those default settings, then they and you're the one in charge. That's what happens. So I want to talk a little bit more about programming. As far as neuroplasticity, it might sound like it's the same thing, but it's not. I mean, neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to rewire itself. Programming is what happens when we talked about that trail in the forest and you walk it and walk it and walk it. That creates the program. That creates the trail, the neurons that actually create new pathways. And what's very cool about neuroplasticity, what I said is usually without your permission, like the automatic beliefs wired into you from repetition. Those are from your it's really funny. It starts with well-intentioned, well-meaning peeparoos in your life, like your parents, but they've been programmed, and they were programmed by people who were programmed by people who were programmed with programs that say 77% of their conscious minds, their conscious brains are wired, almost every single one of us. 77% is what is estimated by neuroscientists and experts in that field of neuroscience. And that is that 77% of those programs are negative, harmful, they hold us back, they stop us, and they are self-defeating and self-sabotaging. So that's what we have in our conscious brain. And then in our subconscious, 95% are that negative, harmful, stop us, hold us back, sabotage. We have the self-sabotage. So 95% of those programs that are running, those are on your autopilot. Boom. And we're going to talk about the subconscious in just a second. That's autopilot, because that's one of the words that I wanted to give you today. So that's programming, right? And then self-talk. So let's move into the third one, self-talk, the language you're programming your brain with all day long. And that's conscious and subconscious. So here's an analogy, like the code running in the background of your computer. You don't see it, but it's running everything. Now you might see, I talked about the 77% in your conscious mind that's negative and holding you back. So, and that 77%, that is of the negative and harmful and sabotaging and stopping you, and all of those things are the limiting beliefs. When you were born with unlimited promise and potential, you were born with that, and that's still there. But this 77% is holding you back and stopping you because it's a program, and it's negative programming that is holding you back, that's stopping you, and all these things. So the self-talk, you might recognize like, oh, I'll never be good at that, or I'm shy, or I'll never have enough money, or any of those things. And you might say, man, I shouldn't say that. I know that that's stopping me, and it's not true, but then it really is true for you, because you believe it to be true. It's a program, and it's not true. It wasn't true until you repeated, or it was repeated to you. So that's self-talk, the language you're programming your brain with all day long. What you're hearing, what's repeated to you, what you're saying, you are your best. That's called wiring your brain. That's wiring your brain, the neurons. Okay, so self-talk. So number 4 is identity, the eternal story you believe about who you are. This is the one I really got stuck on. It's like, okay, the identity, it's who I think I am, and but here's what I came up with: the internal story you believe about who you are, and that is the role you play. And somebody might say that I'm an attorney, I'm a police officer, I'm a mother. These are roles. That's not your identity, but but it is the internal story you believe about who you are. If you say that's who you are, that's your identity, and that's what you identify with. And that's another one that you can change with your programming. So let me just give you an analogy. That's like a name tag your subconscious wears all the time. Whatever it says shapes your reality. And that's really important to understand, that you can change your identity. And I'm not talking about your roles. You could change your roles too. Like you could change your career, you could all of that. But I'm talking about your actual identity, what you believe that you are, whether you believe you're a loser or a winner, or a very spiritual person, or a religious person, or that you're a good person, you're a bad person, whatever it is, that identity that you have, you can change that. By the way, you're a very good person and you're a winner. There, let me just tell you what you are. So stick that one on your name tag. Winner. Doo, doo, doo. Okay, and then the fifth one is subconscious. So the part of your brain that runs your life on autopilot based on your past programming. So this is what we talked about a little bit ago, because when we talk about self-talk and programming and neuroplasticity, the subconscious part, the analogy is like the autopilot on a plane. It's all programmed, right? Just like your brain programmed, and then boom, that 95%, it just goes. So it keeps you flying, but only in the direction you told it to go. And that is the thing. If you were to get on a plane and somebody told you that the chances it was going to have a 77% chance that it was not going to arrive where it was supposed to go, would you get on that plane? Would you? Because I'm telling you right now, that's what's happening in your brain, that 77%, that in your conscious mind. What about the 95%? Would you get on the plane if it were 95? The percentage was 95% chance that you were not going to get where you were going to go. Would you get on that plane? So this is really key to understanding these words. This is why I wanted to put it together for you. And some of these words I just wanted to put together for me just so I'd have them. But understand that, like autopilot on a plane, it keeps you flying, but only in the direction you told it to go. So if you put the plane exactly where it was going to go, to Columbus, Ohio, then and it was all programmed in, that's where it would go. If you told your brain, I'm not good enough, I'll never have enough money, I'm too shy, then that's where you're going. That's where you're headed in life. That's your programming. And that is exactly where you're going. When, I will repeat, you were born with unlimited promise and potential. So that's pretty exciting right there. Okay, so if you want the full glossary with all the definitions and the analogies, just comment below and I'll send it to you. It's not ready for me. I just put it together, but I'll send it to you when it is ready. And then if you want to take your self-talk style, like to know what that is, if you would like to know what your self-talk style is, are you an optimist? Are you a dreamer? Are you the dreamer? Are you a critic? What is your self-talk style? Are you a rewirer? Where are you, and what animal are you? Are you the owl, the optimist? So take that quiz. The link is always in the description, so you could take that. It's freakishly accurate. It's really good. I think you'll really enjoy it. And it'll show you exactly how to rewire the programs that are in your brain. So the programs that are running the show, where you're programmed, how you programmed your plane, your computer, that's where you're headed, and this will show you what's running the show. So it's pretty good. So I'd love for you to share and comment on this video. Before I finish, I want to tell you just a few more of these words, like mindset. Some of these words, I really got stuck on mindset one time, because people say mindset, there are mindset coaches, and people are always talking about mindset, change your mindset, shift your mindset, do this or that with mindset. And I was like, what is mindset? I know that it's like what we think, and I was like, what is mindset? Like all that. So I went with that. I went with like attitude. What is attitude? What does attitude even mean? And rewire and block. Like, what's a block? What's a block? And manifestation, sacred, frequency, intuition, a loop, like I talked about. In fact, if you want to the last video I just did, I'll link it in the description. But that was really good about getting rid of those loops, those overthinking loops. Really, really powerful to stop those in their tracks. But and it'll define what a loop is, especially the overthinking loop. So if these foundational words, if this is helpful, this glossary, please comment and I will send it to you. And then I'd love for you to take that quiz. I'd love for you to love to take that quiz, because that will tell you your self-talk style. So I do hope that you will, if this was helpful, that you will share it, that you will like it, you will subscribe to this channel. I do lots of fun stuff like this, and everything is about neuroplasticity, self-talk, and your transformation, your understanding that you were born with unlimited promise and potential, and then you got programmed. And I'm always here to tell you that that is so changeable, that you are the driver of your own life, and you get to change and rewire that. And neuroplasticity is what we are all born with, and and that means basically what I told you is that it's your brain's ability to rewire itself. And so the programs that you have, those 77% in your conscious mind, and the 95% that's the driving, that's programmed, and there you go to not Columbus, Ohio, but wherever, to shydom, being shy, or being not having enough money, never being able to make it, not having the luck, like not having, if you didn't have bad luck, you would have no luck at all, or those kinds of things. These are all programs. They are all programs, and you can change them all. And not having enough confidence, not a low self-esteem. Those are all programs, and you can change them. So that's the story. I love you so very, very mucho. You can do, be, change, have, create, become absolutely anything. I promise you that. I promise you we're born with that unlimited promise of potential. And we will see you in the next video. See you later. Oops, look, I didn't even see this, but I've got my phone right in front of my face with that, with the mountains. Let me just show you that the sun's going down. I try to do these videos in the mornings, but look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Let me get my head out, so, because it's on cinematic. Isn't that pretty? Look how gorgeous it is. So I had the big video in front of my camera, in front of my face, and I don't look at the camera, so it doesn't always work out very well. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it was helpful. And I love you so very, very mucho, and we will see you in the next video. Ciao.